All right, good evening. It's Bourbon Blog Live, a project, a musical, a brand new production that I'm really proud of and proud to be a part of as the Bourbon Authority. And I've known the producer creator for quite some time. There in the top right, Suzahn Fiering. I'm sure you know her from the world of jazz, music, all kinds of talent she has. You've written this amazing musical that's premiering next week in Manhattan, and you brought along a couple actors, Megan Benjamin and DeShaun Williams. Welcome to Bourbon Blog.
Hello, thank you.
We're happy to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is so exciting, Suzahn, and all of you. I mean, this is. I remember when this was just an idea, and now it is. It's. I mean, you're nearly on Broadway. It is Bourbon on Broadway. Tell us about this, Suzahn.
Well, basically, Tom and I are old marketing buddies and entertainment buddies. And we took the world's most inspiring class together. What was that called? The marketing class? Magic of Mark Phoenix.
Something like that.
It's like just a Harry Potter.
Drinking a whole lot of good bourbon is good inspiration.
Yeah, so we took this marketing class together, and Tom loves marketing and radio and bourbon, and I love musical theater. And so from various and sundry pathways, we kind of collectively came up with this idea. Let's write a musical about bourbon that's a tasting. And it evolved. It just grew into something way bigger. Unfortunately and fortunately, we're not in Tennessee where we intended to launch. But I can go into that later.
Sure. And again, I can remember when the idea was just an idea, and then all of a sudden you were thinking, the history of bourbon and all that, and now it's been woven into something that you've done such a great job writing this, and you're welcome, and creating music for it. What's the overview?
Well, basically, for the listening audience, for the Bourbon Blogger fans, right, it's what we call a musical review in the theater.
Right,
it's 10 songs with book, which means there's a storyline, there's a lot of spoken words, but it's really about the songs. And each song basically tips their hat, some comical way and some serious way, to the great numbers that influence my life, ranging from Hamilton to Guys and Dolls.
Wow.
And the premise is that bourbon was not invented or allegedly invented by Elijah Craig, but instead was invented by his wife, their servant, and their cross-dressing cousin Cornelius. So it really ends up being like a buddy movie where three friends kind of accidentally invent bourbon and become close friends, and thereby also become accidental social justice pioneers, if you will. I mean,
yes,
here you are on the pioneer frontier. And so the story kind of brings all those things together while giving you truth with fiction about the history of bourbon. And the most important part, of course, of the whole musical is the opening number that tells you how to taste it.
That's education, right?
Education. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish, baby. Right. So the whole musical spurned from that. So that's basically what's happening.
Amazing.
So the verbiage, if you will, is Bourbon on Broadway is a satirical sip of the history of bourbon with a splash of camp and a twist of social justice. So we were supposed to open in Nashville. We were just about ready after shutting down 3 times because of COVID. And just as we were about to go into our last rehearsal before dress, where we were going to make videos, because we also want to travel and do corporate events and private parties, the state of Tennessee passed an anti-drag law. Yes, you heard it. three words that should not go together: anti, drag, and law.
Right.
2 days after that, the Covenant shooting happened, and our gun laws were rolled back. Within 24 hours of the anti-drag law, our lead actor was forced by his church to resign. And then venues got sketchy. And then there was violence against people that were in drag and cross-dressing. And the law was ambiguous, and people were protesting in the streets here with Tennessee 3. I won't bore you with that. So I was quite upset because we were about to open, and it's harmless cross-dressing, and it's all about, peace and love, as Ringo would say. Wow. So I called a friend in New York who the producer of Don't Tell Mama. And I was just like, you have to help me. I mean, I was hysterical. She's like, calm down. We'll just do it here. Your musical is tame compared to the things that go on in my venue. And so I said, well, how should we do it? She said, you want to go up in June? This was the middle of April. I said, yeah. She goes, okay, I'll tell you what, fly up, put an ad on Backstage, fly up, cast it. I'll set aside the dates. If you find actors, we'll go for it.
Right.
So this is to you, Tanya. We love you, Tanya. Don't Tell Mama. And so I took me 8 hours to screen 200 submissions from actors. And these 5 amazing people, 4 amazing people, 2 of whom are here today,
yes, walked
into my world. Megan walked in with the most adorable polka dot dress. She had me at hello. DeShaun walked in and was so suave and had this sexy voice. And of course, I was casting with a big old drag queen friend of mine. So, she really wanted DeShaun in the play. And the rest is history. So we are going to open. And I'm over the moon that we're doing this in Pride Month. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
That's great.
So, all right, you want us to be political? We'll be political.
And a lot of I know a lot of the unfoldings that happened really inspired you to take another look at this and to go deeper into some of these themes.
And that's a brilliant question. That's exactly what happened. I remember when I was casting the first 15 minutes of casting. Remember, I've got a 300-pound African-American drag queen sitting next to me.
Right.
And I kept he touches me after about 4 actors. He touches my arm and says, honey, you don't have to ask them if they're okay working with gay people. This is New York. You're safe here. So, yeah, it really gave me the opportunity to dig deeper, clarify some of the roles, go deeper on the relationships. For example, the relationship between William and Francis Craig. I got 60 minutes to create conflicts and resolve them.
Right.
And so much is happening between these actors with their eyes and with their bodies. And the way they interact. And so it really gave me permission to develop that relationship, which in New York is an everyday thing. But in Tennessee, you still don't see a lot of, interracial mingling and you just don't see a lot of gay couples holding hands, and which blows my mind. So, yes, the long answer is yes. I did dig deeper, and the actors have risen to the occasion.
It's an incredible experience. I mean, just to see the musical, to be a part of it. Again, it's going to happen at Don't Tell Mama. The whole environment. It starts next week. It goes for 4 weekends in a row. How about the actors? I know you're ready. I was going to say, are you ready for that? What's going through your mind right now? What are you looking forward to?
Oh, excitement, really. Suzahn has put on such a great show, and I know me personally, I'm just excited to be able to show it to people and present this awesome piece of work that she has made for us.
You're
Yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah, my fiance yesterday told me that he got his ticket for opening night, and
Woo!
one of our friends that's going to officiate our wedding is coming that night too. So it's really exciting to know that they're coming and to finally get it on its feet.
Brilliant. That's great. You know, the best part about this is that Don't Tell Mama is a small venue.
Yeah.
We're starting out small, but we're in for the long haul. You know, I said this to the actors when I auditioned them. Do you want to, you know, if things go well, we'll do the 4 shows and then we'll do corporate and we'll just continuously go a couple times a week. Don't Tell Mama is such a lovely, intimate venue. So people have an opportunity to get close and personal with the actors. So why don't you talk about that a little bit, Megan, how you feel about that? Because you haven't you performed in Don't Tell Mamas?
I haven't performed in Don't Tell Mamas, but I've done a lot of immersive theater. I actually work for a murder mystery company where one of our jobs is to go to people's houses or different venues and perform shows where we make the people watching the show be part of the show. So that's kind of crazy. But it's really fun when you get to do a show that incorporates people from the audience into the show. And this doesn't do that, but to be up close and impersonal with people in the audience is really fun. You get to see their reactions. You really feed off of their energy. You feel their support. You feel their love. And I'm really excited to see what that's going to be like for this show.
Yeah, I think a lot of cabaret shows don't have a lot of plot. They tend to be more musical reviews. And this, like you said, Tom, goes a little bit deeper. Yeah. And the deepest character, and probably the hardest song I've ever written in my life. And of course, I've been a professional songwriter, you know, a lot of film and TV stuff over the years, tons of it. But then I had to write this song that really expressed a modern view on slavery and imprisonment. So, you know, then DeShaun walks into my life, and, you know, it's such a powerful moment for me. DeShaun, why don't you talk about that for a sec?
Yeah.
Well, this William is such a beautiful character to play because he is an educated, one of the educated slaves, thanks to Elijah Craig, who has taught him, and that's who he is as a character. He teaches his slaves so they can become educated and further themselves. So that's how William is being played, and then his relationship with Francis, and that the fact that he is educated helps him to be able to help Francis to just keep the farm going, and so that she can get these barrels of bourbon out and just keep the farm going while Elijah is in jail. So it's just a beautiful character to play, and so much emotion and depth into it, and I can't wait to show that to the world and just have that connection with the character.
Yeah, I can't wait for the world to hear him sing it and be the character. It's a beautiful thing. So in this little mystical play, in real life, we think Elijah Craig invented bourbon. But in real life, he was a white Northern Baptist preacher who thought the loftiest gig was to be a teacher. And he did buy people and then educate them and emancipate them for much of his life. Unfortunately, when he got older, he no longer did that. So I tried to capture a positive point in his life when he did do that. And so in the beginning of the musical, he's trying to be a preacher in Royal Springs, Kentucky, having moved down from Connecticut, which is true. And he gets arrested. They say they arrested him for preaching without a license, but in all actuality, it's because he was teaching, you know, property people to read and emancipating them. So of course they didn't like that. So they arrested him for preaching without a license. And that's kind of where our musical begins. So Frances, this Connecticut housewife, is left by herself with 3 children to run this farm. And so these are basically the adventures that she encounters until the end of the play. I mean, I've only got 60 minutes. It happens quick, folks. But by the end of the play, he gets released, and local people come, and of course Megan is playing one of those people too. And so we sing and dance our way across this with numbers that are reminiscent of Fosse and Dream Girls. And so William's character, DeShaun's character, has this moment where he explains to her, to Frances Craig, they're drinking bourbon and they're getting, whiskey at this point, and they're getting drunk. And so they're having this heart to heart, and she's like, well, I'm going to free you. Suddenly she's powerful, which we know women weren't. And he just takes pause and he says, basically, it's very kind of you, but the truth is, until the color of my sin ain't no skin, then people that look like me will never be free. And so that's how we get into that. And so then the whole point is, hopefully the audience will get, this is about acceptance. And then right after that, enter Cousin Cornelius the cross-dresser. And he does his big number. So that's how I've kind of finagled the history of bourbon with social justice and comedy, right, and songs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what you've done, there's the popularity of bourbon and the history of bourbon, and you've taken some important topics that have always been important, but that have been even more in the spotlight the last couple of years, and you've also gone back in time with those while looking at the history of bourbon. It's sort of like a time machine in its own way, but brings us to important elements of current day.
I mean, it's very much a time machine. But when you and I started this project in 2019, was it? Or 2018?
Something like that. I think
like that. George Floyd hadn't happened yet.
Right.
There was
That's
no
right.
such thing as Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
I mean, everything just kind of evolved. And I never thought that this hip little city I live in called Nashville would become so diabolical, so racist, turning off the mics of Tennessee legislatures when it was their turn to talk about gun control, enabling people with guns, to do whatever they want while they're saying, basically, we hate gay people and drag people. It just was, as hard as it was for me to persevere and not give up on Bourbon on Broadway, hindsight's 2020, and I see why it took so long.
Right.
Because, it's suddenly what started as a historical document, a fun fictional document of the history of bourbon, has evolved into something far greater that all of us in the cast, we don't even think about it, because who we are as people, we believe in these things.
Right.
We believe in love. We believe in equality. We believe in equal rights and women's rights and civil rights and Black Lives Matter. Boom, shakalaka. And even if you don't, come and have a good time and drink bourbon.
Right. It's something for everyone. And of course, bourbon is on the menu. Don't tell mama. You're going to have you're going to have 2 drinks. You're going to have a wonderful show, a lot of talent. You're really going to take a dive into an incredible experience in a world that's been taking years to come together. Again, it's $50 a person. What I think is an incredible value for
with 2 drinks.
With 2 drinks too.
Yeah.
How about that?
Amazing.
Some places in New York can't even get 2 drinks for $50. I know. I've unfortunately spent it. So
I know. So I'd love to hear some other thoughts from Megan, actually.
Yes, please. Yeah, please, y'all.
About some of the characters you're playing, and the things you're diving into, and your perspective of this whole thing.
Sure. So being in the ensemble, being the sole ensemble member, I'm covering a lot of the I don't want to say one-line roles because they have more than one line, but smaller roles in the show. And each of my characters kind of weave in and out at different moments of the story. I sing in, I think, almost every song. There's a few songs I don't.
With different costumes. She sings different songs, and she has to change costumes for each song, which is comedy.
Which is fun too, because all of the songs are all different styles. As Suzanne said earlier, there's one that's kind of like Trouble from the Music Man. There's one that's a big Fosse number. So it's really fun as an actress and as a singer to kind of explore those different styles and to get to portray all of that. I get to play a man and a woman. It's fun. It's a good challenge, and it's just pure fun at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic. We never thought that just putting a woman in man's clothing and a man in woman's clothing to sing backgrounds would be so upsetting to people. I mean, you know, the road tour of Some Like It Hot took Nashville off the tour.
When was that?
Recently.
It's recently that happened, right? Which regard? Yeah.
Because Some Like It Hot was on Broadway, you know, Tony-winning musical.
Right.
You know, think of the movie, you know, with Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon dressed up as women. They play in a all-woman band in the 1940s, and they dress up as women to get the girls. Right.
Yeah.
You know, the Oscar-winning.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's right.
The Oscar-winning movie Tootsie would not be allowed. The musical Tootsie
would not be allowed. Right. What do you hope that the word that you spread as far as obviously art's important to all of us. What do you hope that hearing this story, do you hope it helps in Nashville and Tennessee? What word do you want to spread about that?
You know, I've been an activist here, and I'm, by New York standards, I guess I'd be a moderate. Unfortunately, by Tennessee standards, I guess I'm pretty left of center, which is ridiculous. But, you know, I've lobbied in the Tennessee state legislature, and I really did a lot to bring arts to Tennessee. Right. So I'm hoping that this is, you know, that basically I'm hoping that younger people, I mean, I hate to sound like an old lady, but that the youth of Tennessee, and there were hundreds of thousands of, maybe not that many, but there were a lot of people marching in the streets in Tennessee. You know, especially supporting the Tennessee 3 and the gun laws and the anti-drug laws. And I'm really hoping that the arts has always been a voice for what's right and for love. So I'm really hoping that between, you know, people on the ground, you don't have to be a progressive to want reasonable gun laws changed. You don't have to be a progressive to have gay friends in love and support them. So my wish is that, you know, Tennessee will evolve in the direction it was going. And that really my main wish is that people will come to Bourbon on Broadway, especially those visiting from out of town. But New Yorkers will realize this is important. Bad things are happening in other places in the country. And just because you live and work in New York, and it's not affecting you, and you have gay friends and you have Black friends, that doesn't mean that you can be silent on these issues. Yes, people in New York have to stand up for people in Tennessee and in Florida and in Texas who are getting their basic civil rights violated. So not to be a bummer, but that's what I hope we take away.
Sure.
You know, like Ringo says, love and peace. So I'd like to hear what DeShaun has to say on that note, being our
please.
You
know. Well, you know, I have to agree with what you said. These past few years have just been crazy in this country, and it's been so sad to see how far we've digressed, and it's just sad to see. I mean, we were never at a good spot. Let me make that clear. But it's just in the last 4 years or so, we've just gone so much lower. And the song that Suzann has written in this show, Free, it explains just the struggle that people have to go through and how we want to just be equal. That's all we want. We want to be treated like every other person wants to be treated. And it's sad that we even have to ask for that. It really is.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. And people just need reminding. like I said, I didn't set out to make anything political when I wrote this. I always had inclusiveness. I started out as a writer and a casting director, just wanting inclusivity. It's like, why not have a woman as the main character? Why not have an African American as one of the main characters? Why not have a cross-dressing cousin? Why not? Why not? Not realizing that it just doesn't happen that often outside of New York. So in some ways, I'm kind of sad that I can't make a difference with Bourbon on Broadway in Tennessee, and maybe we'll be back. But, on the other hand, I'm so happy to be embraced, by New York and the gay community. And, everyone is like, can't wait. The bottom line is, let's get together, let's sing, let's dance, let's drink bourbon. It doesn't get any better than that.
No, that's right. It doesn't. Here, I'm going to share that. There's the poster and the dates. This is happening real soon. Again, it's next. Is it next Friday or is it Saturday?
Saturday.
Next Saturday, 8 p.m. The Saturday after. It's basically every Saturday.
It's not this Saturday. It's
not this Saturday, but the next Saturday,
June 3rd. And then
right.
we're doing every Saturday for 4 weeks. The first week and the last week are 8 p.m. And then one of my goals is to do matinees in the future. So we're trying a 6 p.m. and a 2 p.m. show.
Sure.
In those in between weeks, and we're gonna do the show, take a break. And then hopefully we'll be up and running every Saturday for the rest of our lives.
It may indeed continue to evolve. I know it will. I know you're going to keep on growing this. It's been so fun watching you get it to this place. And you head out to join these wonderful actors this next week to rehearse all week.
I'm flying up from Tennessee, man. I'm flying from Nashville to LaGuardia,
You may have to take him some bourbon, warm up those vocal cords. Not that you need it, right? It only helps a little bit.
Yeah. So I just want to say, Tom, knowing you and your beautiful, beautiful wife, Annabelle, has been such a heartwarming experience. We've been friends for a long time.
That's right. We have. That's right.
And it's just been such a great progression of events, just trading ideas back and forth over the years. Of course, I'm very sad because, Dawn would have been there. Dawn Wells would have been there opening night.
Yes.
But that we've really been able to just kind of create something so unique and wonderful, standing on the shoulders of her legacy, really.
No, it's true. I'm really, thank you for saying that, Suzahn. And I'm really proud of what you put together here. I'm glad to be a part of it. It means a lot. It's just so exciting to see it getting to stage, and it shows us that after evolution and inspiration and just some time, that we will all get there as artists. Whatever you're working on, as you're listening to this is a great inspirational story. And there is no pressure here at all. I know it's like virtual. If anyone wants to sing anything, they can, or we can save it, but you're welcome to. There is no pressure at all. I won't be singing, I'll be sipping, but I just wanted to put it out there.
And do you feel brave enough to do free?
I could do. What do you want? The first two verses? Do you want the whole song? I don't know.
What do you think, Tom? I mean, he can always edit
it. Whatever you want, and I can even just put it. Is it just DeShaun going to sing then?
Yeah, he would sing it.
All right, I will. I can take it all off on us and just put the spotlight on you, and you can do whatever you'd like.
Yeah, and of course he can always edit this afterwards because we're not live.
I can always edit it, but I know he's going to be so good. I won't.
And then, if unfortunately we can't all sing color because the timing will be different.
That's true.
They sing along, but I could sing a piece of that, I guess. But if you want, but I'd love to if DeShaun is up for it.
Do you want it to be a cappella, or do you want me to get the?
If you wanted to sing with the track, that'd be killer.
Yes. Let me just.
Get you would just basically play it on your phone and then sing along with it, and that would, we'll listen to make sure the track is loud enough. But I would just, I'd die and go to heaven, to be honest. And you're going to be brave in the middle on the bridge section.
That's great stuff. And thank you again. So many great people watching. Take a moment and like and share this video. And if you've seen the wonderful shows in New York, tell us what you've seen. And if you're planning on going to this one, maybe tell us if you're local. And that way a lot of great people can experience this. I know we already have a lot of fans of both music and bourbon. So this will indeed be a real, and you're going to learn something too, and you're going to taste some good stuff.
Taste some good stuff. Learn.
That's right.
It's such interesting American history. This is right after. This is literally 2 weeks after, Hamilton. In the big picture, it's so close to when Hamilton happened. This is after the Constitution.
This is right at that same time.
Yes, after the Constitution's been ratified.
Just within months, maybe, of actually when Hamilton happened. So
yes, and so what an interesting concept that King George is still in the picture, and that bourbon is named Bourbon after the King of France, King Bourbon of France.
Right.
It was so much fun as a writer to kind of look at the history and go, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that.
There's some real fun you can have with history. I mean, I think that it's one of these experiences where people will come in and know that part of this is historical. It's all historical, but that yet you've added something to it just to make it more entertaining. I love that. I think it's
and the costumes are great. The costumes are super. I mean, they're tri-corner hats, for crying out loud. Like, it's just so much fun. You know what I mean? And everything about it is just brimming with American history, which is one of my favorite types of history from an academic perspective,
Yes.
So what do you think, DeShaun?
Let's go for it.
All right. That's so good of you. That's so good of you. Do you want, is it just going to be you singing then, DeShaun?
Yeah.
All right. I am going to just put it on you, my friend. Here we go. 1 second.
All righty. I hope this is loud enough. I don't have my speaker. You can break the chains that cruelly bind, but it won't stop the pain or the troubles we may find until the color of my skin ain't no sin. And people that look like me will live a life of misery. I've waded in the water. I have fallen to my knees like a lamb led to slaughter. We have all been deceived until the color of my skin ain't no sin. Then people that look like me will never be free. Maybe in 500 years, the greed that feeds the need will disappear. But something tells me it is now ingrained in the hearts and the minds and generations in time. The hatred will remain. I'm grateful for the living I have here with you. I know what you're giving is the best that you can do. Until the color of my skin ain't no sin. And people that look like me will never be free. So please don't ask me to believe if we will ever ever be truly free.
Fortunately, we couldn't really hear the track, but that was brilliant.
That was very, very nice. You're very talented.
Is that
Well
okay?
done.
Should he try and do it again and move the phone?
No, that was perfect. He sounded amazing. You really
Amazing.
Okay, yeah, the track, I realized it was a little low. I could get my speaker.
Well,
no, that was perfect. No, that gives us a nice preview, and you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, I could also play just a little bit of color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish if you want.
Sure.
I can send you that track. The cast sent me them singing along to it, so I can make a 5-person or 6-person, window thing. Unfortunately, I haven't because of my. Never mind. But anyway, we didn't get to it for today, but should I send that to you?
Yeah, you can send it to me. I'll do what I can to share it. And I love the name of the song. You're teaching people how to say it again. What the
color,
name of the song?
Aroma. I'll just play a little bit of the intro for you.
All right.
So this is hold on a sec. This is a la Hamilton, if you will. Let's see. Let me make sure I got the right one here. We're giving you a lot of. Okay, this is hopefully you'll be able to hear it.
I can hear a little bit, yeah.
And so I'll just play the whole, you can tell me when to stop. But this is the opening number. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Sit, chew, and finish. Color, aroma. Sit, chew, and finish. Color, aroma. Sit, chew, and finish. Let me show you how to taste it. Lord, you got to do it right. Trust me, you don't want to waste it. Virgin's gonna get you high tonight. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish.
These are all things we talk about.
Story about the way it went down, the birth of bourbon in a small southern town. 1789, Royal Springs, Kentucky. A man named Elijah Craig was born truly lucky. A white Northern Baptist preacher who thought the loftiest job was to be a teacher. He taught his minions how to read so they could spread the gospel truth and promise they'd be saved with eternal youth. Let me show you how to taste it. Lord, you got to do it right. Trust me, you don't want to waste it. Virgin's gonna get you high tonight. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. He was a road builder, speculator, miller of paper, wool, corn, and wheat. He was a landowner, inventor, freeholder, mover, and shaker. Always landed on his feet. He was a father, husband, son, and friend. But his love of bourbons was made him famous in the end. Now here's another story you need to learn about how those white oak barrels first got burned. Just who did the charring is up for debate. So ladies and gentlemen, here is our tape. Let me show you how to taste it. Lord, you got to do it right. Trust me, you don't want to waste it. Bourbon's gonna get you high tonight. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. Hey, yeah. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish. Color, 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 color. Color, aroma, sip, chew, and finish.
Very nice, very nice. Really well done. This is all things we do and talk about in the education.
That's exactly
And
what
what's Bourbon going to do tonight, Suzanne? What's the?
it's going to get you high. You know what? I could not write this musical as your friend and not.
I like it.
I had to make sure I did it right. Color,
You're
aroma,
starting them off right, educating them. That's right. No, this is we can't wait. Again, this is the place to go. Facebook.com/Bourbon Broadway is the place to go. So like that, share it, and then to learn about where to get those tickets, you can buy the tickets online or calling the number that's on that website, right?
Oh yeah, and also I guess we should add Instagram Bourbon on Broadway.
Okay, Instagram Bourbon on Broadway. Is it just Bourbon Broadway or Instagram Bourbon on Broadway?
It's Bourbon on Broadway for Instagram.
Bourbon on Broadway. We're going to be following the progress on Bourbon Blog of what's happening, and wow, we're really glad to have everybody who's such a fan of both Bourbon and Broadway joining us tonight. Thank you all again so much to the actors and Suzanne, and go follow them, go support them, tell your friends. You got a good start on this. You get quite a few followers on Instagram here. You
Yeah, we
really
do. We're getting there, and special thanks to Megan Benjamin, who's going to be singing the harmony up front on Color Aroma, and DeShaun, who is playing. He's got a couple of great numbers in the show aside from Free. Thank you guys for doing this today, and thank you all.
It's so good to connect here. Congratulations, everybody! Raise a toast. And look for them all through June at Don't Tell Mama. And I wonder at some point, I mean, if they love the music enough, where can they, will it be available someplace? Will there be
Yes, there's going to be streaming options. There'll also be merchandise, T-shirts, hats. Eventually there will be barbecue tongs and anything you can think of, cigars, chocolate, all kinds of things that go along with bourbon will have merchandise for sale.
I like it. Big congrats to all of you. Break a leg next week. Megan and Suzanne, DeShaun, everyone in the whole cast, well done with this.
Yay.
Thank you.
Cheers to bourbon.
Thanks for watching it on bourbonblog.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you all soon.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you.